Okay, so what if a company wasn't just using AI, what if it was actually run by it? And no, that's not some sci-fi movie plot. We're about to take a look inside a real company called KAELUM, where a team of 20 AI agents, yeah, 20, is in charge of basically everything. We're talking sales, engineering, even legal stuff. So let's dive in and see how on earth this actually works.
So this is the claim KAELUM makes, right from the jump. And you got to appreciate the confidence. They're not saying, oh, this is our 5-year plan or some far-off concept. Nope. They're saying this is a live, AI-governed reality happening right now. So what does that actually mean? What does it look like day to day?
Right, here's the plan. First, we need to understand the unique currency this whole AI system is built to manage. Then, we'll get into the engine that powers it all and, of course, meet the AI workforce itself. We'll even zoom in on their AI security chief, which is fascinating. And then we'll wrap up by asking that huge question. Is this what the future of business looks like?
Okay, so before we can really get our heads around what this AI team is doing all day, we've got to understand the product they're in charge of. And it all kicks off with a totally different take on digital money.
So the heart of it is this new kind of digital currency, but it's designed for just one thing, actually buying stuff. You buy their tokens, they're called KAELUM, and you get a guaranteed discount when you use them at partner stores. Simple as that. The whole point is practical, everyday spending, not, speculating on some volatile asset. And this right here is the key difference. This is how KAELUM puts a ton of distance between itself and the Wild West of crypto. A KAELUM token's value is totally stable. It's always worth what you paid for it, plus that sweet discount. There are no crazy market swings. It's a regulated, closed-loop system built for one job. They really want you to know this is not crypto. All right, so we get the currency. It's stable. It's for shopping. But what's making it all tick? Well, that brings us to something called the Kate engine. And this, my friends, is where the AI story really kicks into high gear.
You can think of Kate as the company's brain, or maybe its central nervous system. It oversees every single transaction, every interaction on the platform. And it's not just running on some generic AI, it's powered by Anthropic's Claude, which is one of the heavy hitters, known for some seriously sophisticated reasoning. But here's the kicker. It's not just one AI.
It's 20. Yeah, 20 of them. See, the KAT engine isn't just one big AI blob. It's more like a coordinated fleet of 20 highly specialized autonomous AI agents, and each one has its own specific job.
So who are these 20 agents? Let's meet the team. Probably the easiest way to wrap our heads around this is to see how they're organized into departments, just like you'd find in any normal company. It's also worth noting they use a 3-tier system, so they match the brainpower of the AI to how tough the job is.
First up, you've got the customer and growth team. These are the AIs that face the outside world, and this is where you really see the teamwork. For instance, you've got the merchant acquisition agent. Think of it as the salesperson. It closes a deal with a new store, and then bam, it automatically passes that new client over to the onboarding concierge AI to get them all set up. It's a totally seamless, fully automated growth machine.
Next, you've got the ops and engineering team. Now, some of these roles are what you might expect. An AI managing bug reports, another one handling the developer API, standard stuff. But then you get to the last one on this list, and this is where it gets a little mind-bending. There's a people and operations agent whose job is to manage the other AI agents and their budgets. It's an AI acting as HR for an AI workforce. Just let that sink in for a second. And naturally, every company has to worry about risk, right? Well, this AI team is basically the automated defense grid. You've got one agent acting as legal counsel, spitting out contracts. Another is the compliance officer, 24/7 auditing everything against UK and EU regulations. And then there's a fraud detection agent, hunting for shady stuff in real time. It's an entire legal and compliance department fully automated. Okay, so all these agents are pretty incredible, but there's one that really deserves its own moment in the spotlight, just because its job is so unbelievably critical, and that's the agent in charge of cybersecurity. Think of this agent as the digital fortress guard, and it never ever sleeps. It's not just doing some weekly scan. We're talking continuous real-time monitoring of the entire platform, looking for some really nasty stuff, like huge DDoS attacks, API abuse, or those sneaky little attempts to exfiltrate data. And here's where you see just how autonomous it is. When it spots a threat, it doesn't just ping a human and wait. No, it immediately coordinates a response across the entire fleet of AIs. It tells the engineering AIs what to lock down, it logs every single detail, and it's constantly updating this live security health score for the platform. It's incredible. But, and this is a really important but, there's a critical safety switch. Even though the AI can detect and coordinate all by itself, it can't just go rogue. For really big decisions, like kicking a user off the platform, it still needs a green light from a human. It's what they call a human-in-the-loop system, which makes sure there's always a layer of human oversight.
All right, so we've seen the currency, we've met the AI engine, and we've been introduced to the workforce. So what does this all mean when you put it together? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture.
So here's the main takeaway. KAELUM is basically a company orchestrated entirely by AI. Every critical job has a specialized agent doing it, and they use that clever 3-tier system to make sure the right amount of AI brainpower is on the job. But the single most important thing to remember, this isn't a white paper or a what if. As of April 2026, this thing is live. It's up and running.
And we're not talking about some side project in a garage. This is a real deal business. They're actually in the process of raising £1.8 million in funding to scale up this AI-governed model. So yeah, they are betting big that this isn't just a gimmick, but the actual foundation for how companies will be built in the future.
Which, of course, brings us to the final, massive question. We've just walked through a company where pretty much every important job is done by an AI. It is a radical and frankly fascinating idea. So you have to wonder, are we just looking at a cool, niche experiment here? Or are we staring at the blueprint for pretty much every company of the future?